So we're gonna check out this video from the good brother O'Shea Jackson. Africans humbled this African American for saying this about moving to Africa. So let's check this out.
A few days ago, I covered the Pan-African village in Asibu, Ghana. And of course, there's some controversy going on there because 5,000 acres of land were given to the diaspora, the African Americans, Caribbeans, and Black British. And at the end of the video, I made an assessment of why that is. I believe that the chiefs in the local village felt that the people there were not doing anything with the land and that these people would come in and invest in the land, creating more businesses and more income. So a clip of that was posted on Instagram and it has created a lot of controversy. Let's look at the clip. When these African Americans or Caribbeans come into Africa, they're probably not gonna be playing. They're gonna be very serious. They're gonna be very serious because they have to be serious. They're probably gonna work hard. They're gonna have some advantages, connections, American money, American credit cards, and they're probably gonna put their best foot forward. And those people in these particular environments who have not had to have this sort of tension or competition, they're going to get it. I'm seeing people here in Uganda all the time, every week. I'm seeing African Americans come into Kenya. I'm seeing the Black Caribbeans coming into Kenya, and you're gonna see a lot more talented people from the diaspora coming into Africa, and those people who have been having, some of these things just because it's yours, if governments feel like, you're not doing something with it, then there is going to be problems. And those African governments are going to look at, well, if our people are not doing anything with this, why are they going to have it? We might as well give it to somebody who is going to occupy it and develop it. And unfortunately, that's not fair. I can see it, but that is the reality. The more Africa starts ringing up, and the more that these countries start competing for the diaspora, these things are going to happen. People need to be ready for the competition that's coming toward this great continent. Africa Free Trade is coming, and as much as talented Africans are going to push the envelope in America and put pressure on Americans, these people from the diaspora are going to be putting pressure on people here. And it's going to be either you're going to compete or you're going to get ran over. And I hate to say it like that, because that's the energy people from the diaspora are coming with. They are not coming here to play games with people in Africa. I mean, it's good to say we love our brothers and sisters and we want them to develop, but if you're not gonna develop, these guys are gonna come over here and they're gonna take your opportunities. We're gonna hear it's colonialism all over again. It's called competition. It's called development. If you're not doing the business right, if you're lying in the business, if you're scamming, and you see brothers coming from London or from St. Louis or from the African American community and they come in here and they're in the business with you, they're gonna smoke you. It's not gonna be close. And they're gonna take your opportunities away from you in the business if you're not gonna do the right thing. And if you don't like it, there's only one way you can stop it, is to compete and be competitive. Now, of course, in the Instagram comment section, people were upset with me. One person in particular who happens to live in Canada, she was saying, what kind of nerve do I have? I should know my place being an African American in Africa. How could I speak like that? Which is very interesting because on people here. And it's going to be either you're going to compete or you're going to get
or what risk being a permanent underclass in the society.
One of the alarming predictions you make in the book is along those lines. You mentioned that blacks will be pretty much a permanent underclass in America by the year 2015. Why the year 2015?
2015 because what I've concluded from analysis is that there are going to be a converging of social factors nationally and internationally that's going to place blacks in a permanent status of underclassship. And we anticipate by that point in time, based on all the research that's coming to us, that the next generation of whites are going to be more anti-black than they've been since the Civil Rights Movement. 2, we anticipate by the same token about 86 million Hispanics coming into the United States and about 41 million Asians by that point in time, which is going to kick black folk out of being the minority in the society down to a minority. We've been number 2 in the society for 400 years as a group. We're going to become number 4. And if we have not gotten anything after being number 2 for 400 years, you guess what's going to happen when we become number 4. Because at that point in time, all the new groups coming into America, they're coming in higher than we are because this country operates off of a preferential acceptance program, which means that groups are coming in based on skin color. They're going from the lightest down to the darkest. Light, yellow, brown, black. And that's what our immigration laws are based on. And black folk would not be able to penetrate through those groups to get to the white society when that happens, because those groups owe us nothing. They don't understand our problems, and they are competitive with us, and we don't begin to be a little more aggressive about being in a competitive posture. They're going to eat our lunches.
Did you hear that last part?
Because those groups owe us nothing. They don't understand our problems, and they are competitive with us, and we don't begin to be a little more aggressive about being in a competitive posture. They're going to eat our lunches.
If we don't change our posture, they are going to eat our lunch. Now stop the show. I know what you're going to say. O'Shea, you're causing division in Africa between the diaspora and Africans. We should be trying to work together to build Africa. Yes, and that is what I try to do. That is what I'm doing. But we got to understand one thing, and we got to be real. Everybody can't work with everybody, right? And when you can't work with people out of frustration, what do you start to do? You just start trying to be very competitive. And when you're there, you're doing anything you can do to try to win. And most of us think that I'm having an African American argument. I'm not. I'm having a diasporan argument, because the most of us don't even come and do well in Africa. So I'm not even talking about that. Let's talk about what's going on in Africa overall. Most people that are doing good in Africa are African returnees. So when I'm talking about people being competitive, I'm talking about those people who left and who are coming back are your neighbors. Let me give you an example. I live here in Kampala, Uganda. There are not many African American owned businesses here, right? But I see this every day because I live here. Want to know who has a lot of businesses here? Kenyans,
China.
Rwandese, Lebanese, and Indians, Ethiopians, and Eritreans. Now, it'd be great that they want to come in here and collaborate, especially, people from the other African countries. But they are here to do what? They're here to win. They're not here to have sympathy on anybody. It would be great if they wanted to come here and help develop, and in many cases they are. But they are here to win. They're fighting over resources, and whether you like it or not, that's what they're here to do. And that's why you see a lot of these groups in Uganda doing very well. Kenyans, for example. How many Kenyan businesses do you see? How many Kenyan banks do you see? Well, let's see. We have like Equity Bank here, right? There's Diamond Trust Bank, but then you see a lot of Kenyan products here. There's Cream Bell Ice Cream. There's Dairyland. These are Kenyan firms in the Ugandan market, and they are not here to collaborate. They are here to dominate. Now let's get back to the diaspora, since that seems to be such a problem. Let's look at what happened when Nigerians came to America. They were not there to make friends. Of course, they made friends along the way, and when they found out certain things, they became friends with certain African Americans, and obviously with the Liberians and people like that. But you want to know what Nigerians did? They started winning. How do you think we got the Shade Room? Well, we didn't have a lot of African Americans in that sector of the gossip world, right? So Nigerian Americans came in and developed that. They came into our community and they developed the Shade Room, and not too many African Americans got a problem with it. Same thing with like Media Takeout. Well, we didn't open up that particular blog, so a Ugandan American came in and he did just that. So what is my point here? I think that we need to talk very frankly about Africa and about the opportunities. While we want to collaborate, it's not going to be possible all the time. That's something that Pan-Africanism needs to address. I don't know how long I've been here in Uganda. I've been here for 6 years. I'm a licensed owner. I have a business visa. I have a work permit. But you know what? It's hard getting collaborations. Even when you have the money, it's hard doing things. There's a big risk of you might being scammed and losing your money. So what do you do then? Well, you start trying to build your inner circle around yourself to protect yourself because of fear of collaboration. And what I said about that is not new. I've talked about that before right here on this channel. And if you don't believe me, here's that clip. One thing I've noticed about being in Africa, businesses will want your money, but they won't do the work. It's different once they get the work. Whereas Brother Agaba, I know he's gonna deliver. So that's why you see these things, and we have certain brothers and sisters in Africa that are gonna do it. But can you sit there and wait until Africa get it right? No, you can't wait till them get it right. And that's the issue here. And so the division, and then what happens, I see local Africans, well, there's a certain brother that I know. He would say, well, you guys are here. You don't want to give Africans an opportunity. I'm just saying, like, hypothetically. But the reality of this is business. This is competition. And if you're not going to compete, forget me. Look at the Chinese that are here. Look at the Indians that are here. Look at the Lebanese here.
We're not going to do that one.
But I'm just saying, in general, you got to be good. Every
true.
business has to deliver on what we're talking about. So the diaspora is coming together and delivering the goods and services once they're coming into places. And they're going to do a better job.
As long as we're all black, I really don't mind.
But let me also say this, because Africa has to develop. That's one thing. But one of the things that we hear in the diaspora that are trying to move Africa forward is this one phrase. Let's let God will talk about it.
To me, one of the most annoying statements that I have continuously heard over the years.
What is it?
This is Uganda. This is Africa. Right? And here's
Hold on. Can you play that? We're gonna replay me saying that too. Hold on. You find it? Play it. You know, I noticed, especially since I've been here in Uganda, they want the full price. Like when you want to pay for something, they not saying this is Uganda.
He ain't lying.
Oh, sir, yes, you know, I will do this, banana, you know, whatever, right? They're not saying this is Uganda before you pay for something.
Yeah.
When you pay for it, then that's what it is. This is Uganda, right?
Yeah.
That's right. This is Uganda, right? But it's not just me. Listen to this brother from Tanzania say the same thing.
I hate when locals say, this is Africa. Yes, I understand this is Africa, and we're not supposed to be bringing our westernized ways here. But Africa can take some tips from us. This is Africa, and I call it that poor mentality of they don't want to change. That irritates me. Just take some advice. We're not trying to change your way of life, but you gotta quit saying this is Africa like that poly, not willing to change. You have to be willing to change because Africa, believe it or not, Tanzania's probably 25 or 30 years behind the Western world. So sometimes I find myself fighting and struggling with trying to make life better for everybody else over here.
There is a mindset here on the continent that this is Africa, this is how it works. If you don't like it, you need to leave. But at the same time, you have people saying that Africa needs to develop to create more jobs for itself. So what's going to happen when you're trying to collaborate with others, you're having a difficult time collaborating with others, and people can tell you different things? Well, you're gonna look at it like, all right, well, if I can't collaborate with you, let me try to do it on myself. And then if I get into a certain level of success, then guess what? Like, I wanna own that for myself. And I'm not trying to say that's a great thing, but that is the mentality that I see that is coming down the line. And I'm trying to warn not only Africans, but also those in the diaspora. Because again, we're saying, well, we don't wanna have another Liberia situation coming on. But the fact is, humans want resources, right? And humans want to go and take care of themselves. They're gonna always prioritize themselves, and they're always going to prioritize their family. We see that when Africans come to Canada or Britain or America. You're also going to see the same thing if African Americans come here, the Ugandan diaspora comes here, or anybody. People are going to prioritize themselves. Unless what? There is value in the collaboration. And this is what I want to talk about. Collaboration is great, but it has to be built on two things that are very important: trust and accountability. And the reason why I believe we're going to have a lot of individualism coming as the diaspora returns home, we're going to have more competition. And it's not even just the diaspora. The Chinese, the Indians, and the Lebanese are already exhibiting that. When you don't have trust and accountability, you don't get collaboration. And that's not going to be any different when the diaspora returns. We're going to have some issues here because you're going to see a lot more individualism between our side and their side. And the reason why I'm calling it out right now is so that we can get past that. We're going to need the collaboration. But if we don't, you're going to get extreme competition, just like you see in the black community, just like you see with immigrants anywhere else. Wherever there's money to be made, people are going to compete for those resources. And not all the time can you collaborate. Want to know why you can't collaborate? Because people don't honor their end of the bargain. Unfortunately, we're going to be honest. That's the problem in the black world. We don't honor what we say we're going to do. So you can't trust people. So if you can get mad if you want and try to say I'm trying to cause division, and those concepts and those talking points I think are very futile for what I see living here. And what I see living here is if people don't do things the right way, somebody is going to come and figure it out for you. That person may be an African American. That person may be a Ghanaian British. That person may even be a Nigerian coming into this country or Ugandan going over to Nigeria. It's going to happen. When the Africa Free Trade Agreement comes out, a shitload of opportunities are gonna come up. And if you're not gonna be the one to maximize it, somebody will. You can say all day, oh, well, you guys are colonizers. You have the colonizer mindset while you're in Canada trying to colonize the white man as an immigrant in somebody else's country. And I have noticed that a lot of smoke that we get on this channel are from people who left Africa, who are in somebody else's country trying to get their resources and then mad at the diaspora for trying to come home to Africa and do the same thing. But I get it. We can always be hyperbolic and hypocritical. I mean, it just makes sense. That's what human beings do. But here's a fair warning to those out there who want to see change. You're going to either have to add value to your collaborations for people to want to work for you, or you're going to be in competition. And if you don't compete, you're going to get beat. It is what it is. Africa is going to develop whether we like it or not. Since I've been here for 6 years, I've seen a lot of changes coming, new airport, I'm seeing new things happen. And guess what? People who are not going to be able to compete, they're going to leave. I had a conversation with Farm Up, and we were talking about how many businesses didn't come back after COVID. You know what he told me? In the poultry industry, over 50%. And in Ghana, you want to know who dominates the poultry industry? The Ghanaian diaspora. They don't care that local farmers are being put out of business. It's not their job to care. They are there to dominate, right? They are there to control those resources and to make money. It would be great if we all had the Pan-African village mentality of wanting for ourselves what we want for our brother, and it's easy to say that, but to do that is something different, and people act different when money comes into play. I'm just trying to give a warning so we can be practical, so that way your expectations are set. When you come here from the diaspora, a lot of times people will say they want to work with you, and then they won't. Now, there will be some that will, but then they won't. You'll have to build the bridge for yourself. And when you build the bridge for yourself, you're probably not gonna want to give that bridge up to people because they have less than you. It's a human mentality. It's a human thing. I've worked for this. Why should I give it to you for free because I'm from America or from the UK or from Canada? It doesn't work like that because I work for this, right? And that's the mentality that we're going to see here. We need to stop acting like it's going to be a whole bunch of peaches and plums and us singing kumbaya, because that's not what happens here, right? It can happen to a more extent if we understand the problems and want to add more value to each other and learn how to work together. But for right now, we don't know how to do that. And so once you don't know how to do that, you get extreme competition. And as opportunities come out, those who don't know how to work together and those who don't know how to add value for their customers, you're going to be out of business. That's anywhere in the world. It's not just an African thing or an African American thing. We get put out of business in the Black community for other people because we don't take care of our customers. So here's a fair warning to what is to come. I see it here every day. I live here every day. I'm all throughout Africa, and I don't like the division that we may have on certain issues, but we got to tell the truth. Competition is real. People are coming here to win, and if you don't like it, you need to get ready for it because it is coming. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of Fair Use. Appreciate your...
Oh my goodness. The good brother O'Shea was just dropping. Oh my goodness. He was just dropping so many gems. Gives me a whole lot of things to think about. Oh my gosh. That bruh. I think I'm willing to leave the United States and go to Africa, and it's not no pilgrimage to get back to ancestors or anything like that. No. It's to explore business opportunities. So that's one of the things that I gathered from what he was talking about. But yeah, goodness gracious, I ain't have nothing to say while he was dropping all type of gems on this video.